All right, Jabosai, good morning. Good morning. Let us begin in a few minutes in Mirz Hashem of this beautiful Torah. We're continuing Oros HaTeshuva, and we're continuing Mirz Hashem. We are continuing on page 11. Rav Kook writes this also. Remember, again, in this first chapter, we're really focusing on the general framework of tshuva, the different components of tshuva, different parts of tshuva, how tshuva is set up. So we focused on the first one, which is what Rav Kook called tshuva tivis gufnis, innate or internal physical tshuva. Now, again, we're moving on to the second part, which Rav Kook called tshuva tivis nafshis, which is innate spiritual tshuva, right? Rav Kook. Yosef Pnimis, hi tshuva hativis hanafshis v'aruchanis. A second, more what he calls inner form of tshuva is this tshuva. Again, tivis means innate or natural. Nafshis means soulful. Ruchnis, spiritual. So innate spiritual tshuva. What does this mean? So Rav Kook writes, this is very beautiful. Humash shekorim musar kloyos. This is what people call literally musar kloyos. Kloyos are the kidneys. So musar kloyos almost means like you feel it in your kishkas. It's a tshuva that you feel internally, spiritually. This is so beautiful. Teva hanefesh hanoshis hulaleches b'derech yishar. I will say the default of a person is to go on the right path. This is incredibly important. In life, we often think that we have to try to figure out what the right path is. It's not true. Innately and inherently, we know what the right path is. How do we know that? Because we have a neshama. Like the Baal HaTanya says, the neshama is a chilek elokami ma'al mamish. It is literally a piece of the Ribono Shel Olam. So because of that, there's this piece of God that's inside of me. Therefore, it knows exactly what to do. What's the problem in life? And we saw this, by the way, in the Piazetzna as well. We saw this in Achsharas HaAvreichim. What did the Rebbe say? Piazetzna say? The biggest problem is we get in the way of the neshama. We get in the way of the soul. We throw up all types of roadblocks and impediments and obstacles to prevent the neshama from doing its thing. But the real avoda in life is just allow the neshama to remain in the driver's seat. And if you do that, you'll get exactly where you need to go. So that's what Rav Kook is saying. Tava ha'anoshis, the literal, like the nature of man, laleches b'derech yishara, is to do the right thing. Now, Rav Kook is adding in something additional, which is, therefore, because the neshama is a piece of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and because the neshama knows exactly what to do in life, and because we often get in the way of that, therefore, when we do the wrong thing in life, kishesam min haderech, when I do something wrong, kishenafal b'chet, when I fall and entrapped and ensnared by sin, im nafsho adayin lo nishchas legamrei, as long as I have not totally obliterated my soul. Now, remember that statement is a very strong one. You can't obliterate your soul. What Rav Kook is saying is, as long as I am not totally, fundamentally, and wholly and completely detached from my soul, which unfortunately could happen, so as long as there's some level of connection between me and my neshama, hariachush hazeh shel hayashrus, this desire to want to do the right thing, magdiv es levavo v'hu mismogig mike'ev. Literally, again, so therefore, as long as there's a piece of my neshama that's still intact, when I do the wrong thing, I will say, what does that do? Rav Kook says, it causes me an internal spiritual pain. I don't want to live on the wrong side of the law. And by the way, interestingly enough, not because of punishment, right? Not because of fear of something punitive, but I want to know that I'm living in consonance with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. I want that for myself. Again, not out of fear of anything, but simply because innately, spiritually, I want to do the right thing in this world. I want to be the right kind of person. And therefore, when I'm not, it literally causes me pain. It causes me inner pain, inner spiritual pain. Now, as a result of that, now going back to what we learned yesterday, remember, in general, whenever a person is in a state of pain, what does a person do? I'm in a state of discomfort. What do? alleviate the discomfort, right? Remember again, this was by Tshuva Tivis Gufnis, according to Rav Kook. So sin causes illness, sin causes physical pain. Therefore, Tshuva is the process through which I remedy that physical pain. Now Rav Kook is saying it's the same thing on the spiritual level. When I go ahead and I sin and I do the wrong thing, that is going to cause me a sense of internal, existential, spiritual pain. Again, because innately and inherently, I want to do the right thing. I want to do the right thing. So therefore, when I'm now on the wrong side of the law, there's an internal pain that's there. Therefore, what am I going to want to do? What's tshuva? Tshuva is the remedying of that internal spiritual pain. And I'm going to work on this, to remedy this, until I feel that my sin has been erased. So therefore, that's definitionally our second construct of tshuva, what the Rav Kook calls tshuva tivis nafshis, inherent or innate spiritual tshuva. I sin, again, step one, inherently, innately, I want to do the right thing. When I don't do the right thing, that causes me a sense of spiritual pain. I don't want to live with spiritual pain. So what do? I try to remedy it. That act of remedying spiritual pain is called tshuva. It's tshuva. Incredible. And Abba says, as I mentioned before, there are so many beautiful things that come out of that. Number one, innately I know the right thing to do. It's a big thing, because we often think in life that like we're all lost. We're not so lost. We're not so lost. I know what I have to do. Number two, I want that goodness. Number three, stop getting in the way of the neshama. Number four, ultimately, again, when I lose my way, the good news is that I'm going to somehow, some way, find my way back. Incredible. So therefore, again, now if Cook ends off and he says, you're looking for it, yes? So he says, Chelik zeh shel tshuva hu mesubach harbe ma'od. It's important to understand that this form of tshuva is very complicated. Now, it's funny because it doesn't sound that complicated, but yet Rav Kook says it's complicated. We'll get into this, why this is. He says, Talayu b'tinoim rabim. It's dependent on many different conditions. Pinimiyim, chitzoniyim, internal conditions, external conditions. V'yesh bo kama darkei hata. And there are many ways to go astray. Many ways to go astray. He says, Shechovahi lishama mehen. You have to be careful. Aval mikol makom hu achad hayesodos shetochen hatshuva nishar alehem. But it's important to understand that this is one of the fundamentals upon which all of tshuva is predicated. All right, well, so stop over for today. Now again, I want to point out, Rav Kook, interestingly enough, does not talk about any of those challenges, right? He'll talk about those challenges later on. So that's not even mentioned, right? It's not even brought up. But halacha l'maisa, Rav Kook does sensitize us to the fact that l'maisa, there are many complications, many difficulties in Meretz Hashem. So important, but yet so complicated. So again, I'll stop over here for today. Tomorrow we'll continue in the different tshuva constructs. Shkoyach.